page 161, Alexander March. On page 160, they're giving you the primary chords for the key of G major. We've had them for C major. Let's just review. In C major, it's the 1 chord, the 4 chord, which is the F chord. Now we turned it over, so it's here. The 5/7 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, it's here. And we turn it over and we don't use all 4 notes. It's here. So it's the 1, 4, 5, 7, 1 in both hands. Okay, now we get them in G major. But it's the same thing. It works the same way in every key. The 1 chord is built on step 1. That would be a G chord. Now they're introducing you to the 5/7 chord, which is the D7. See, in G major, the 5th step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a D. We build a chord on that note. There's a G sharp in it. It's a D chord, and if I add another note for the 7th, remember from here to here, it's an interval of a 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I take a D chord and I add a 7th. I get a D7. It's the same as what we did in C major. When we had G chord, we added a 7th. Well, it's a D chord and add a 7th. I can go down here. 4 notes, but we don't use all 4 notes. You need the outside notes, the D and the C. So sometimes you'll just see these together. That's why. That's the outside notes. And we need one of the middle notes. Either one. Doesn't matter. Generally, we will use the F sharp because the F sharp is the leading tone to G. It comes, so we will use that one here. These notes. When we turn it over, we put that on, let's see. So we have here to here. Little finger goes down a half step. That's same as that. It goes down a half step. Same pattern. All the keys work the same way. Just make sure you understand what a D7 chord or a 5/7 chord in the key of G major. See, it's always a D7 chord. It doesn't matter what the key is. Always a D7 chord. But a 5/7 chord is based on the key. In G major, a 5/7 chord is a D7 chord. In C major, a 5/7 chord is a G7 chord. Is this confusing or what? You're just going to love it. Gotta love music. Just take your time with it. Don't get too confused for now. We got plenty of time for that later. Just let's talk a march thingy over here and see what we get. Look it over. It's a page long. Treble bass clef, 1 sharp in the key signature. We're in the key of G major. Make sure you can do the G major scale. 1 octave up and down. You've heard this lecture before. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. 4/4 time signature. Take it one hand at a time. Make sure we understand what each hand is doing, because we got a lot of weird stuff going on in the right hand, or it looks ugly, but let's figure it out. You're starting with thumb on G. And in this piece, the right hand is not moving around. You don't need any other finger numbers except for the last 2 measures, and I'll talk about those in a little bit. So just here, you got to remember which key your fingers are on. Please don't be reading these finger numbers. Faber and I completely disagree on that part. You add them in plenty, so I don't. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and just taking the rhythm and the notes as they come. Not trying to make sense out of it right now. I'm just taking the as it comes. And then I'll measure 3. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay. Measure 7. Let's come down, just reach the thumb down a little bit. You can lift up. Even with big hands, you can probably do that because you're not playing anything else with that note. And then you get a rest, you can come back out here. And you do that some more. Now, last line, measure 14, you're here. And then I want you to do the thumb and thumb. There are times in piano when we have to use this kind of fingering. But If I don't have to use it, I don't, because it's not a real good fingering to use. I'd like to alter this just a little bit so we don't have to do that. What I'm going to do is, for the A, I'm not going to use second. I'm going to scratch up and use fourth. I just changed hand positions. Now I can do a 2, 1. Now there's other fingerings you could do. I could use a 3, 2, 1, or a 3, 2, or 3, 2, 1. There's different fingerings you can use, and from one piece to another, you're going to be using them all eventually. I just don't want to do this if I don't have to. Left hand, we get the chords. You get the G chord or the 1 chord. Later, you get the 5-7 chord or the D7 chord. So much for the left hand. Put them together, and we get this. So if you can do the right hand, you pretty much got the piece. Then once you have the notes and the rhythms figured out, then go through it slowly and carefully and get rid of any hesitations. So it's a steady beat. Doesn't matter how fast you go right now, but no hesitations. After that, then I'll think about the articulation. Here we got staccatos, and we'll flex it through. At the beginning, you're on the key and you're just bouncing off. Measure 8, you get accents. You just play them a little louder. Remember, that's the last 2 beats of that measure, both hands are down, and then you go on staccatos. At the end, measure 14 staccato. And then accent staccato, just play them a little louder. Try and get to where you can just feel these articulate. You're feeling this staccatos and things. Now when you go from measure 8 to 9, here, when you go on, lift both hands up here. It's a new phrase. Here, it's like taking a breath. You have to lift up the left hand. It's a chord. Just make sure the right hand comes up too. Don't connect them. Yeah. In some ways of interpreting it, you can connect it. You can treat that D as a lead in to this, to here. And if you do that, you would connect it. I'm suggesting you just treat it and then go on. There's no right or wrong there. It's which do you feel it. Try it one way one time and another way another time. We experiment, try things out. Then the dynamics, we apply to the melody, which is the right hand, and MP at the beginning. MP is mezzo piano, or sort of soft. These chords need to be in the background, soft. Because don't play them the same, because they drown out. That drowns it out. Keep it in the background. And you're staying soft until measure 8. Suddenly loud with accents, I think that's a bit of an overkill. In this piece, I just don't think you need accents on loud notes. They're already loud. What's the point in making them very loud? Just loud on measure 7. Or measure 8, loud. Because you're moderately soft on measure 7. Now, so all of a sudden, oh, wake them up. Now we're sort of loud. On measure 13, you're going to go up. Here, you're going up to loud. And then on measure 14, then which is soft. I don't know if that's an error or not, but that's what they're saying to do. Because it's like you're echoing that. I think the P in measure 14 is in the wrong place. Because the musical motif, a musical motif is as a short set of notes, a pattern of notes. And this, that's a pattern. And you get it again in measure 14. So measure 13 is that. So you get that pattern twice. Well, I think what they really want you to do is they want you to echo the first one. That means the P doesn't start until the second beat on measure 14. So you're moderately loud, or you're going up to loud. loud, and now you're soft. And that's loud. And then very loud. So in my opinion, measure 14, don't do soft until the second beat. The first beat is loud. You see, you have to be careful in music because when they go to put it in hairpins and dynamic markings, they don't always get them in exactly the right place. You have to say, what makes musical sense here? And that's what I believe should happen. Then speed, brightly. Well, it's a march. Left, right, left, right, left. Left, right, left. Yeah, somewhere in there. One way of doing it. After a few cups of coffee, I'm sure I would do it differently. Experiment and have fun with it. Let's play it together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the louds and softs. I'm going to play it all about the same. All we're doing is checking notes and rhythms. Are you playing the right note at the right time? I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready and go. And 1 and 2. Two, three, 4.